My name is Mary Gastinelle, and I'm the founder of Gastinelle's 1011 Care Residence group home for girls. This group home has been in operation since 1988. Matter of fact, October 1988. It was founded in 1987, and we opened up for business in 1988. All the girls that come here come from the Department of Social Services, Child Protection Service, and a lot of the girls that come here, it's because of physical abuse, sexual abuse, and I want to make a difference. A lot of them haven't had the opportunity of a home-type atmosphere or a mother. Most of these kids have had to fend for themselves. A lot of them come from the streets.
I think the system doesn't do a very good job of protecting children. I think the system does a very poor job of taking the place of stepping in for parents who haven't been able to care for their kids, and that's our job. I mean, to me, that's the role of government, is to provide a safety net for people who cannot provide a safety net for themselves. And these are children who cannot provide for themselves and who've been dealt a really raw deal.
You know, you have personalities where they don't always mix, and you have to really put some effort into looking in their past. A lot of them, they have a lot going on, and to say, okay, this is who we have now, how is this personality going to work with this personality? Unfortunately, that's something that doesn't happen here, and that's why it gets explosive here. It really does.
It's been interesting. It feels like we're really in a kind of a crisis/transformation point. We know where there's just a lot of energy and things are really in a hard place.
I don't want to blame the system entirely, but the system is what it is, and that's why you have so many kids in the system, and we have an endless supply. I hate to be so negative, but we have an endless supply. Each generation. I mean, we just had a baby last week, or last month, and she just turned 15. We have an endless supply, you know?
You know, so a lot of them most of them come from households where there's been issues of substance abuse or instability, abuse, neglect of one sort or another. So that's just the baseline, and it can go from there, you know.
I'll tell you what, I've had a lot of challenges in my life. This by far is the biggest challenge that I've ever taken on. But I've learned a lot. You know, over the years I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot of kids come. I've seen a lot go. I've seen every possible problem you could ever imagine that could happen in anybody's life. I've experienced it right there. And what we really, really try hard to do is to change the pattern. And then that's very difficult. Because if a kid's been doing something for 12, 14 years, it's very hard to change that. You know.
And you know, focus on reunification with family when we can, when it's possible. And if not, you just, self-preservation is really important, because that's the downfall. These girls, they don't have any, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have any incentive to respect themselves and respect others, because they feel, you know, I have to get mine, take care of myself before, you know, like they say, kill or be killed. There's a very interesting quote. If you go in the office, I want you to look at it. It's the one that the little one came in here and made, and she just said it, but it's so true. And that's their mindset, where it's a cold world out there. Either you did she say something like either you beat them or you join them, or you beat it or you join it? It's out there, but it's true. That's how they look at it, but they need to also look at other ways so that they're not a part of this next generation of kids in foster care. There's a never-ending supply of them, unfortunately.
These girls are more fascinating than any millionaire you could meet. You hear what I'm saying? Because they're for real. There's nothing phony in them, and they're going to be themselves. And if you could take the energy and the intellect that they have and harness it in the right direction, they could do nothing but succeed. They're dynamic, but they just don't know, they don't know who they are.
They're in a community community where, you know, what else do you see? You see pimps, you see prostitutes, you see hustlers doing whatever they can to take from little people, and that's the life. Statistically, less than, if I'm not mistaken, 4%, if not lower, graduate as far as foster care students. Sometimes all they need to see is that there's a different life, you know? Life is not all about, you know, the typical hustlers in my neighborhood and, you know, getting these clothes and getting that. I want to let them see a different life. And
when I was working in schools, there's this issue of motivation. You know, if kids aren't motivated, they're not gonna do school. You know, and it's you know, it's our job to figure out how to motivate them.
I have a knack for working with troubled youth. I love and respect them, and I figure that if you treat any human being with respect, they respond in kind. And I'm actually seeing that it all depends on how you talk to a person as to how much headway you can make with them. I'm finding that if you are kind and loving, that, and a lot of people think that this population of girls don't know how to love, but if you're kind and loving, if they return that love to you. We're looking now at prisoners in prisons that are getting more education than our children in group homes, than our children in schools. We got the governor of California giving more money to prisoners to go to school than he's giving to children that are in the system. And God knows something's wrong with that picture. Gastinelle's.
Children, I don't know, children in the foster care system. I've worked with kids in the foster care system in a lot of different capacities, and there's something really extraordinary to me about them. I mean, these are children who don't have families who can care for them at the moment. These are orphans, and we don't use that word anymore, but we used to, and we used to have a lot of sympathy for orphans, and we don't anymore. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know. I mean, I think one of the neat things about coming to this job is I'm never sure what's going to happen, and I think that's one of the problems, is that we don't have a lot of structure built in, so we don't have things that are set up that everyone can expect and follow through with.
So cosmetically and structurally, we need to fix this place up to be a home, to be a model home. We need a lot of enrichment type programs where they can get out of their surroundings and not just basically cut school and go downtown or go back to their family, to that same community, but they need to have programs where they can get out of the city and not only get out, but they need to be a part of arts and education. One thing that I would really like to see is to have people in the community to mentor, to commit to mentoring these girls in whatever field they're interested in, nursing, business, you name it.
Really expose these kids to really another better way of life that they would probably never ever have an experience. You know, I'd like to do that. Someplace on the weekends we could go and spend a weekend, do retreats. You know, I think that would have a lot to do with their attitudes and behavior. So we try to expose them to some of the better things, you know, give them new hope, new dreams.
We don't know which way to go. We're ordinary people. Maybe we should take it slow. Take it slow.
They got little special issues, but they're regular old kids.